Now, appreciation was mentioned here, and let's talk about this because we're saying, okay, what happens to the housing market? What happens going forward? What happens if there's a recession? Now, you know me, I've been on TV, I've talked about a lot of this, saying that we do anticipate a recession happening in 2020. I feel pretty confident about that. So what does that mean? Well, housing, historically speaking, if you look at the last 6 recessions, it has done very well during recessions. Why? Because interest rates decline. Historically, interest rates decline as everyone tries to stimulate growth by lower interest rates. And that has had a very beneficial effect on housing because it kind of levers the other and offsets the other issues that are in the economy. So it's going to present refinance opportunities. So I want you to think about that if you're taking a mortgage today. You're going to have an opportunity to refinance the mortgage you're taking today over the next couple of years, 2-3 years. So think about that opportunity. So don't pay a lot of upfront fees. Actually, look at higher rates with lower fees or inclusive of closing costs than lower rates. I know it's counterintuitive, but it's really the smart decision to make because of the refinance opportunity that's coming. When you look at why there's going to be a recession, so I just made a big statement saying there's going to be a recession. I've said this for a long time, that 2020 has been our target. So why? A couple of things. Number one, there's been a lot of talk about the inverted yield curve. What does that mean? That shorter-term maturities are yielding higher than longer-term maturities. And if you're listening, it doesn't make sense to you if you think about it, right? So the higher the rate means higher risk. So the longer I lock up my money, there's a better chance that more bad things will happen. Like if you went to the bank, if you're listening, you went to the bank and you say, okay, let me put my money in a 2-year CD versus a 10-year CD, you expect a higher rate of return for the 10-year, for locking up your money 10 years because you're risking taking that money and putting it aside for 10 years, right? So you expect a higher rate of return. So that's what normally would occur. That's a normal yield curve. But what if the 2-year were giving you a higher rate of return than the 10-year? Well, that's what would happen in the Treasury markets, and every time that happens, within about a year and a half, you see a recession. This isn't the cause of recession. This is kind of like when you get sniffles, you're probably thinking that you might get a cold. Well, the real root of the cause is the cold. And you should relate that to what the other great indicator is. Since World War II, it's 100% correlation with recessions. Actually, you can go beyond that.
What is that?
Every time the unemployment rate bottoms and starts to move up, every single time.
That's
you see
interesting.
A recession within a year, every time. And we're now at 3.7% unemployment. Eventually, when it turns higher, you're going to see a recession probably in 2020.